If we make the effort to always be alongside the private sector, it's also a message to encourage them to continue in this direction, because they have understood our message of industrialization, of creating jobs for the Burkinabé youth. Investing is a risk. Every investment is a risk, but one must have boldness and courage. And if they had the courage to invest, it doesn't go unnoticed, as he so rightly said. I think the ministry has also done everything to support and advise them. And with the postal bank as well, as he mentioned, this is a message to tell others who are still hesitant to venture into industrialization that now is the time, because this is the very first detergent production unit in Burkina Faso. Since Burkina has existed, we have been importing detergents. How many jobs are created, and the national market needs these detergents? So, we will continue to encourage all those who have taken the initiative to venture into industrialization, support them, and help them move forward so that our country becomes industrialized and prosperous. This is what led us to be present and to help support them.
Captain Ibrahim Traoré has just achieved something incredible. It's something never seen before in West Africa. He shed tears after this victory. It's unprecedented. You will also be shocked to discover what he has accomplished. Yes, Captain Ibrahim Traoré shed tears for this victory. It's truly amazing. Look closely at those buildings. It's the biggest hospital ever built in West Africa. If Captain Ibrahim Traoré shed tears after this victory, there are reasons for that. In fact, when Captain Ibrahim Traoré started the construction, he faced many difficulties, especially from the Tero who were preventing progress. But despite all these difficulties, Captain Ibrahim Traoré completed everything, and the hospital will be opening very soon. All the doctors who will work in his hospital must follow his strictest rules. If a doctor treats a patient badly, he will be automatically dismissed. In his hospital, the patients are kings and have more rights than the doctors. This decision by Captain Ibrahim Traoré will completely change the way things are seen. What do you think of the captain's decision? Share your opinion in the comments and like this video.
The military ruler of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, has taken a strong stance by suspending the radio broadcasts of UK-funded BBC Africa and US-funded Voice of America, VOA. This move comes in response to their coverage of a report that accused the country's army of conducting mass executions. According to a statement released by Burkina Faso, the Superior Council of Communication, CSC, noted on April 25, 2024, that BBC Africa and VOA broadcasted an article accusing the Burkinabè army of abuses against civilian populations. The accusations followed the publication of a document by the NGO Human Rights Watch on its website. The CSC found the content of the article to contain enormous peremptory and tendentious statements against the Burkinabè army without any tangible evidence, even though the same article calls for an independent investigation. This approach violates the cardinal principles of information processing, as it constitutes disinformation that could bring discredit to the Burkinabè army. It could also create disturbances to public order, which is prohibited by Article 130 of Law 059/2015 CNT on the legal regime of sound and television broadcasting in Burkina Faso. Therefore, due to the urgency and seriousness of the matter, the CSC decided to take conservatory measures in accordance with its prerogatives.
Ibrahim Traoré's vision for Burkina Faso. A new path to sovereignty and development. Who is Ibrahim Traoré? Interim President of Burkina Faso since September 2022. Former army captain who led a popular coup amid rising insecurity. Africa's youngest head of state as of 2025. Core vision. A sovereign and self-reliant Burkina Faso. Focus on industrialization, healthcare reform, infrastructure development. Vocal criticism of Western media narratives and influence. Industrialization as a path to sovereignty. Key beliefs. Dependence on raw material exports keeps Burkina Faso underdeveloped. Industrialization is essential for job creation and economic independence. Initiatives and proposals. Promotion of local industries, for example cotton, mining, agriculture, encouragement of domestic processing of raw materials, cooperation with non-Western partners, for example, Russia, China, for technology transfer and investment. Quote, Africa cannot develop by exporting raw materials and importing finished goods. Health sector reforms. Challenges identified. Limited access to quality healthcare, especially in rural areas. Inadequate infrastructure and trained personnel. Policy goals. Expanding access to public health services. Investing in local production of medicines and medical equipment. Strengthening traditional medicine while modernizing hospital systems. Impact vision. Reducing dependence on foreign aid for health programs. Empowering community-based health initiatives. Infrastructure development. Strategic priority. Infrastructure is the foundation for economic transformation. Key areas of focus. Roads and transportation networks to connect rural and urban areas. Electrification projects to reduce energy poverty. Development of digital infrastructure for a modern economy. Long-term goals. Enable intra-African trade and internal market growth. Create employment and build local engineering capacity. Criticism of Western media. Core argument. Western media often portrays African leaders who challenge the status quo as dictators or extremists. Traoré believes these narratives undermine African sovereignty and unity. Examples. Coverage of his government framed as military rule rather than popular transition. Lack of attention to grassroots support and alternative development models. Position. Calls for African-owned media platforms. Advocates for narrative sovereignty and cultural pride. Alignment with Pan-Africanism. Broader ideology. Inspired by Thomas Sankara's legacy. Advocates unity among Sahel nations Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger for common development. Strategic moves. Formation of the Alliance of Sahel States AES. Withdrawal from ECOWAS due to foreign influence. Challenges and controversies. Internal criticism. Some accuse the government of limiting political freedoms. Security concerns and insurgent threats continue. International reactions. Sanctions and aid cuts from Western nations. Growing support from alternative global powers. In conclusion, Ibrahim Traoré represents a growing shift in African leadership. Assertive, anti-neocolonial, and development-focused. His push for industrialization, healthcare, and infrastructure reflects a desire for true independence. His critique of Western media underscores the battle for control over Africa's story. Appel l'action pour tous les Burkinabè, citoyens et citoyennes de Burkina Faso. Elue nest plus latent. Mais l'engagement, notre pays est un tournant décisif de son histoire. Sous la vision de président Ibrahim Traoré, nous avons l'opportunité de construire un Burkina Faso fort, indépendant et souverain. Mobilisons nous pour industrialiser notre économie et créer des emplois pour notre jeunesse. A former notre système de pour garantir l'accès aux soins chaque citoyen. Développer nos infrastructures pour relier nos villes, nos campagnes, et notre avenir. Reprendre le contrôle de notre image. Face aux manipulations de certains MDs strangers. Ensemble, unis et solidaires. Soutenons nos initiatives locales. Valorisons nos ressources et nos talents. Defendons notre dignité, notre culture et notre souveraineté. Burkinabè, elle est destinée de notre nation est entre nos mains. Levez-vous pour un Burkina Faso nouveau. Agissons aujourd'hui pour demain. We are not anti-West. We are pro-Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traoré.